Hi, my name is Lisa Cummings, and today I'm going to share with you some information about the typical costs and timing in receiving a qualified domestic relations order in a divorce proceeding. First, I'd like to share a little bit about Cummings and Cummings Law. I'm an attorney with Cummings and Cummings Law. We are a full service commercial as well as individual law firm. We assist both companies as well as individuals in their legal matters in the states of Texas, Florida, and Oklahoma. A little bit about me. My name is Lisa Cummings, and as I mentioned earlier, I am an attorney. I have spent the majority of my career working with companies as well as their employees in educating them about their retirement benefit programs as well as their health and welfare benefit programs. So, as a refresher for you, what is a qualified domestic relations order? A qualified domestic relations order is a legal order which is used to divide retirement accounts in the event of a divorce between the person who owns that 401k account initially, called the plan participant, and the other spouse who is being granted a portion of that retirement account. And that other spouse is called the alternate payee. In a qualified domestic relations order, you are required under federal law to obtain this additional qualified domestic relations order to ensure that first, the retirement plan administrator can divide the account, and then secondly, to ensure that you avoid paying early withdrawal penalties and encountering any tax issues. It's important to note that this document has to be reviewed and approved by the court that issues the divorce decree, and the document also must be presented, reviewed, and approved by the retirement plan administrator before the division of the account can occur. So, what are some client questions that typically occur as it relates to qualified domestic relations order? One of the first questions, well, how much does a QDRO cost? Another typical question is, how long does it take to prepare a QDRO? Please know these are practical concerns that will help you set your expectations about how the attorney will perform this particular activity. Short answer is that costs and timelines will depend upon the complexity of the retirement plan, whether or not the information that's needed to complete the QDRO is available, the efficiency and the expertise of the drafting attorney, the time to file with the court, and then the review by the retirement plan administrator. So, typical cost of a QDRO. Fees to prepare this separate qualified domestic relations legal order can range from several $100s to a few $1,000s. That's just for preparation of this one legal document. Our firm charges $695 for you to be able to compare with other different providers out there to prepare this qualified domestic relations order for you. A simple 401k division is typically less costly than perhaps a defined benefit pension allocation. Pension QDROs typically will require calculations of survivor benefits, cost of living adjustment provisions, as well as actuarial calculations. Many retirement plans also charge an additional administrative fee ranging from $300 to $1,200 to review these qualified domestic relations order and then split the award amount between the two parties, the participant, the original owner of the retirement plan account, and the alternate payee or the receiving ex-spouse. The divorce decree should clearly state who pays to prevent any disputes. So, what are some typical timelines when it comes to qualified domestic relations order preparation? Typical timelines can range anywhere from 2 months to 6 months, and it all depends upon how quickly the attorneys can start working on this, how available the information is to draft the information. So the first issue is that the retirement division first must be agreed in the original divorce decree. The recommendation is strongly from me that a QDRO be drafted by an attorney who is an expert in relating to qualified domestic relations order, is very familiar with retirement plan documents. Ideally, you would also like to have the plan administrator review a draft of this document before it is submitted to the court for their signature. The court then has to review and sign the document, and then that final document goes back to the plan administrator where they review it, approve it, or if they don't approve it, they will send back and say you need to make more changes. So this can be a step-by-step process, but these are the typical steps that have to occur. And again, it can take between 2 to 6 months depending upon how quickly the information is available and how diligent the attorney and the other parties are in drafting the document. I will tell you, our firm typically can turn around a qualified domestic relations order draft within a week's time if all of the information is readily available. What are some common delays and risks? Some common delays are waiting too long to get the QDRO, or waiting to come to a QDRO attorney years after the actual divorce decree has been granted. Waiting causes several different things to happen. First, changes in who keeps track of the retirement plan. They're called the plan administrator or the plan record keeper. Those changes happen on a regular basis. The records get moved from one company to another. One company buys another company, and then they merge the assets and the records of that first company into their records. It's a short way of saying that sometimes records will get lost if you delay in seeking a qualified domestic relations order. Additionally, think about the circumstance where the participant retires and draws out the whole account before the QDRO is ever entered, and then there's no asset to be divided, there's no asset left, or in the event of the death of a participant, then that also will complicate the division, because that participant, upon his or her death, will have that amount automatically awarded to their estate, which will most likely not include the ex-spouse. Another concern of delaying and a risk of delaying a QDRO is not obtaining the QDRO. Means that you could risk permanent loss of the actual underlying benefit, as well as tax penalties if the accounts are not divided, if the accounts are divided informally. So what are some next steps for clients? The next steps would be to ask your attorney early about QDRO cost and timing if you're still in the middle of working on a divorce decree. Then budget for attorney fees and plan fees. Also, do not postpone. Draft and submit the QDRO during the divorce resolution timing. Reminder, finally, proper planning will secure the retirement benefits of both parties. For more information, feel free to visit our firm website at QDRO.law. That is www.qdro.law. We have built an intake portal where if you can provide the information that we need to draft the qualified domestic relations order, then we'll be able to provide that draft document back to you, typically within a week. Again, it depends upon how complete the information is that you can provide to us in the first place. If you have any additional questions that you would like to send over to me, please feel free to email to me at Lisa, that's Lisa, at Cummings, CUMMINGS.law. Also, you can schedule an appointment with me by going to QDRO.law, and I'd be happy to find time to answer any questions that you might have. I wish you all a very good day. Thank you for joining us. Bye-bye.